Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Mannado Sri Jagannatha Madguru Sri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The only Guru of three religions, the Traitatiram originator, sensational writer, Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwara. We are knowing about the Traitatiram Bhagavad Gita interpreted by Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwara. So we have started knowing about the introduction to Traitatiram Bhagavad Gita. Last week we knew some information about the Traitatiram Bhagavad Gita introduction. So this week we'll continue. So where we left. So last week we come to know that the man who is excelling well in all the fields with respect to the external world, he became very dumb and he is not able to grasp the divine matters. So we got two examples, like one is about a advocate, another is about doctor. So both are excellent in their intelligence, and they are doing very great in the external world related fields, but they are dumb with respect to the spiritual related matters, and man is not able to grasp the matters about the divine. So, and also we got one example is about two ladies coming from a furlong distance and three men sitting beside the road and watching them. And first, initially, all three um, agreed that two women passing near to them. So in the middle of the way, so one among them, first person said, one is a woman and another is a eunuch. The second one and third one always argued up to that point that both are women. When they completely came near to them, approached to them, the second one, he accepted internally that one is a woman and another one is eunuch, but the third one is always arguing that. So when there is a attire of the woman and everything looks like a woman, so they both are women only. So even the first one explained so many ways, but both of them did not listen. And also we come to know that so there are two kinds of books. One is about Puranas and another is about Shastras. So Puranas are like they are fabricated stories. They will not withstand with the rational questions, and rationalists, when they question Puranas, cannot stand and cannot answer, because it's those are all false stories everywhere in the Puranas. So but when you take about the Shastras, the word Shastra came from the Shasana. Shasana is from the Shapa. Shapa means curse. Curse means 100% it will definitely happen. So when there are many shasanas, like we can say inscriptions, we can say those the collectively we can say it is a shastra. It is a science shastra. So in the shastra, when you say one word, when you give a principle, so that will happen 100% everywhere, anywhere. So if you take example of Ganita Shastra, that means mathematics. So 5 into 4 is equal to 20. You go and do calculation wherever you want. The multiplication is one principle. You do everywhere, anywhere on this world or on any planet. 5 into 4 gives always 20. That's why Shastra is never going to change. It will have the single result always. It will have the only one result always. Uh, and let's know more about um the people. The three kinds of people are there, right? So let's know more about how they understood, and what is the difference between Shastras and Puranas. So The matters in the Puranas are different, and matters in the Shastras are different. And there are the people who is explaining the difference between both of them. So there are some people who are not able to mm, understand initially about that, but after some time they are able to grasp that which is Purana and which is Shastra. But they will not they will not support the Shastras, since they are telling always about the Puranas from the starting. All of a sudden, if they start telling against them, they think that they will lose the honor and respect in the society, and they always say Puranas are great than the Shastras, but internally they feel that Shastras are great than Puranas. So that's why they are very much attached to the Puranas and they want to come outside. So we need to know about the Shastras, the complexity, the people, the human beings entangled with the Puranas and the Shastras. So we need to know clearly about the Shastras. So if somebody say something, a matter, that matter, if vocally speak somewhere verbally, if it is said verbally, that can spread some part, some location only for some time. After that, what happens? So nobody cannot speak, so it may vanish. But that same matter, if it is written as a book and it is distributed, how as long as book exists, the matters will be preserved there itself, so it can spread like that. So if we consider about the two kinds of books, there are uh, they belong to Puranas and Shastras. So man, what he did, he thought something like, so in the future human beings should walk in this way, they thought. So what they did, they fabricated some stories and they made it them as Puranas. So the intention of that is to make the human being walk in a good path, but it contains a lot more fabricated stories, false stories. So if somebody criticizes them, the Puranas are not going to answer that. If there is any rationalist, if he asks some questions, so the Puranas are not going to answer that. That's what their weakness. And also they are very popular of saying Kalakshepam. Kalakshepam means just for time pass purpose. Puranas for time pass purpose. So they cannot do karmakshepam. Karmakshepam means destruction of karma. So the Puranas are not going to do any destruction of the karma. So they are just for the time pass purpose. So the our time will go and waste if you catch the Purana and start telling that, the our time will go waste completely. So um, so the intention of Puranas completely failed over there, and also they failed in making a human being liberated. The people who are much more attached to the Puranas, they may feel bad about that, but the truth is that they are not going to make, and they are not going to be useful to become to get liberation. So man cannot get liberation just by Puranas. So and also the Puranas are much more popular saying that Pukkidi Puranas. Pukkidi means false Puranas. The truth comes from the navel part. The untruth comes from your cheeks. That's why the Puranas are called Pukkiti Puranas. So Swami explained an example. So in his childhood days, so when he was going to the school, so one incident happened. A student did not come yesterday. So master asked him why the student did not come yesterday. So the student replied that he got headache. yesterday, so he could not come to the school. Then his master asked him whether this word is coming from your cheeks or from your navel part. So why he asked like that is, so the false or untruth comes from your mouth and the truth comes from your navel part. So that is the uh, difference we can identify between science and the Puranas. So Shastras are science. So Shastras come from, we come to know that but that Shastras come from our naval part. So Shapa means curse. Shapamu means curse. The curse, the Shapamu. Later part of time, Shapamu transformed into Shasanam. Shasanam means inscription, we can say. So whatever you say, curse or inscription, both will happen 100%. So that's why. So the shastram means science that contains many inscriptions or principles inside that. So once you say that, it will happen forever. That's why we got one example like 5 into 4 is equal to 20. Wherever you do that, so it will happen like that. So that is told only once, it will happen forever. So the same way, there are some people who could not grasp about the books, uh, and they always say that all are same. The same way, what example we got, so two women are passing through three kinds of people, three people, and in the three people, if not only the three people, if we could not able to identify which is science book, which is Purana, which is science and which is Purana or mythology, that is like the person who fails to identify the two women, who is um two women. That's what the problem. So we should be able to identify between the Puranas and the Shastras. Women should know the difference between them. If that is not possible, how it happens? If that, it's like pouring the dust which should be on your feet, so you are going to pour it on your head. And also the water, you need to pour it on your head, instead you are going to pour it on your feet. So if there is a dust, to clean it and to make your body clean, you have to pour water on your head. If there is a dust on your body, it will completely wipe out. Instead of that, so if you pour the dust on your head, what happens? Whole your body becomes completely dirty. So um, so if there is a person who does not grasp the difference between Puranas and Shastras, so he could not able to grasp true Shastras. And if the person is able to grasp the uh, if a man is having a grasping power, he should read Shastras. If a man is not having any grasping, he can read Puranas. So if it is vice versa, like who has grasping and he reads the Puranas, who has no grasping, who reads Shastras, so that's not going to work. And also, some people are able to understand the Puranas, but they are not able to understand the Shastras. Some people are able to understand the Puranas, Shastras, and they know that Puranas are uh, not at all going to help, and they are not going to touch them. And if we see uh, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita is 100% Shastra. Whatever the principles, inscriptions mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, they will happen 100%. And also, it should not be combined with Puranas, that we need to know. So, the main matter what we need to know is there are 18 Puranas which are very famous in India. So, they are called Brahma, Brahma Purana, Padma Purana, Vishnu Puranam, Shiva Puranam, Bhagavata Puranam, Narada Puranam, Markandeya Puranam, Agni Puranam, Bhaushat Puranam, Brahma Kaivartana Puranam, Linga Puranam, Varaha Puranam, Skanda Puranam, Vamana Puranam, Kurma Puranam, Matsya Puranam, Garuda Puranam, Brahmanda Puranam. Like that, we have 18 Puranas. And these Puranas are very famous from ancient days too. And these are three times compared to the Shastras or science. There are six Shastras, 18 Puranas. See, these Puranas are threefold to the Shastras. But the value, if you see the between the Puranas and Shastras, so Puranas you can compare it is like a stone, and the Shastras you can compare it is like a they are like jewels. So some people could not digest this matter because the Shastras are much more powerful and they are much more valued. When the people are very much fond of knowing the Puranas, and the people are very less knowing the Shastras, so they caught that time, they took that time, it's the right time, they thought it was the right time. So people, what they did, they wanted to do some harm to the Shastras. So they they found that time, and they started harming the Shastras, and they wanted to make valueless all the Shastras. So what they did, they introduced pseudo Shastras, pseudo science, instead of the real science. So what they did, they created six uh, sciences in place of the real sciences. So what they are called Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Chandasu, Niruktamu, Jyotishamu, Kalpam. So these are all well known to the people who read Vedas, and also who are immersed in the Puranas very well. So if we explain about what these pseudo sciences tell, so let us talk about one among them. So let us take an example. The first one, Shiksha. So the Shiksha, what it tells, Shiksha means training. The training, it tells about the words from Vedas, and the position of the letters there, and also the uttering is also three levels, like high pitch, low pitch, and same pitch, these kind of things. So it tells about uttering in three ways. And there were the people like Vyasa Maharshi, Bharadwaja Maharshi, Narada Maharshi. So what they did, they uttered in a different pitches, like high, low, and the same pitch. So if you want to utter Vedas, so they will tell that at one place you utter it loud, and one place they utter it low pitch, and at one place you need to be equal pitch to tell that. So if you consider this one, what we talked about the Shastras, if you say once, it is fixed. So forever, it's not going to change. Here, if you see the training about the uttering the words in a different pitches, like three pitches, right? See, the same word you are uttering in three different pitches. So and they are naming it with different maharshis like Vyasa, Bharadwaja, and Narada. So if somebody say this way the word in this speech, they will tell that you did not utter like Bharadwaja, you did not utter like Narada, you did not utter like Vyasa. So there are three different methods they are following. Three methods, but the science says always only one single method. Always here, what it is saying, the Shastra, the meaning of Shastra is completely valueless here. So these pseudo shastras made a bigger harm to the real shastras here. So let us know what are actually real shastras. There are six real shastras: um, mathematics, astrology, astronomics, chemistry, physics, and the yoga shastram. That is called big education or Brahma Vidya. So these are the six shastras, sciences exist in this world, um, except that there are no other shastras. Then some people may ask that you are listing over here all the six shastras. Why don't you have the entry for the Vastu Shastram? So nowadays there are so many people who are practicing Vastu Shastram, and people they are suggesting that you should build your house according to Vastu Shastram. But actually it is a pseudo science. It's not real Shastram at all. So the and also they tell that if your house is not built according to the Vastu Shastram, so you are going to face hurdles in your life. This is completely against the yoga shastram, we can say. So if a man has to live in a house, it depends on his initiative karma, prarabdha karma, whichever is decided. Based on that, he is going to get that house. That is, nobody is not going to change in between, nobody cannot decide in between. So the person, what kind of house he is going to get, it will be mentioned in his astrology itself. But there is no special science or Vastu Shastram which is applicable to the human being, and also it is particularly for the building a house or living in a house. So Vastu Shastram is completely a pseudo. Um, and also out of these six shastras, so there are we have fixed six shastras, and the 18 puranas, their number is not going to change at all. And also uh, out of six shastras, the mathematics is related to the mathematics and the astrology are related together. And also um, without any mathematical calculation, the astrology is not going to exist. And also astrology is related to the astronomics, because there will be stars and the constellations and the planets and everything. Planetary system we talk about, that is related to the astronomics. So the astrology is related with astronomics. And also um, the physics, the chemistry is related with the astronomics, and also physics is related with the chemistry. And also mm, the yoga shastram or big education is related with the physics. So if you talk about physics, the physics is related to the body. So every human being embodied inside the body. So human soul, that is mortal soul, is embodied the physical body. So and also he is living with many parts of the body. Inside his body there are so many parts, he is living with that. He is the mortal soul. And the mortal soul, if he wants to get liberation, then he must know about the yoga shastram or Brahma Vidya or big education. And this the five sciences: mathematics, astrology, astronomics, physics, chemistry, they are much more helping the human being to live in the external world. But the sixth science, which is yoga shastram, which is not related to the physical world, it is always related to the God or Paramatma, we can say absolute soul. Five sciences are helping the human being in the physical world, the human being who is living in the physical world, to leave that physical world and merge with the absolute soul, he must need the sixth science called Yoga Shastram. So some people may question that. So if that is the case, so where is this sixth science, Yoga Shastram, and where do we find that? So we need to know about that one. So we'll know in detail uh, in the next week. So we'll stop here. Let us do Mangalam and finish this session. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Mahaniya Prabodhatmane Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Sadhurupaya Mangalam. Prabodharpanam to all.